As a kid, film and editing was such a mystery to me. Every film and show I watched, I always had this thought in the back of my mind. How did they do that? This mystery lingered in my mind and fascinated me for my entire childhood and into my teenage years. But as my body and mind grew up, my curiosity for film grew as well. Things made a lot more sense than they did. I was more interested in behind the scenes to films than the films themselves. Then it hit me. I could do this myself too. YouTube really made me realize this. The endless video of people using cheap handheld cameras and editing the same green screen explosion effect, the fact that so many people could do it, really made me realize that I could be one of them. So for my birthday, I asked my mom to get me a cheap editing software called Sony Movie Studio 9 HD. This was my first time with a piece of software at this level. Sure, it wasn't the usual Sony Vegas or Adobe Premiere everyone was familiar with, but it was the start that helped me figure out all the quirks of this program all by myself. I remember when everything started to click. I remember finally figuring out how to place clips and place effects in the clips themselves. When that click happened, I soon got to work. For hours, I would be on the computer editing away and piecing all my clips together and watching the video over and over to make sure everything was to my liking. I remember my first major video. I stayed up until 4 a.m. continuously working, and I still wasn't done by the time I went to bed. I was hooked after the first video, and for a couple of years, I was working every month on a new video or two. I got a little popular from these videos as well, getting thousands of views on a couple of them. Of course, that isn't big to someone who is a YouTube star that lives off of ad revenue, but it was impressive to me that I could get to that point. It did feel pretty nice to have at least a couple of people consistently watch me. Something was very special about the fact that people kept tuning into the newest video and always watching it. It gave me a sense of accomplishment and kept me inspired to do more. This is probably why I got hooked on making these throughout my early teenage life. I was always trying to impress or make others laugh. I felt happy, even at dark moments in my life. When I made a video, it seemed to get rid of all the stress. But as my life became better, I seemed to edit less. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I didn't really have too much of a desire to edit or make things. It began to feel like a chore sometimes, especially when I got to my filmmaking classes. I knew a hiatus was needed. It was important to me that I needed to take a mental break because of how much I worked on those videos for almost 5 years straight. So I took an almost year-long break from editing and focusing more on my friends and other activities. I felt like editing was the only thing I was good at for a good long while. But stepping back from it helped me realize I had more skills than that. I also realized editing wasn't the only thing I had interest in. I liked art in general as well. Once I found out I had more passions, it made me come back to editing. Like the passion was still there, but I needed time to realize that. I got new software and started a new channel to focus on more structured videos. Now I'm here, still editing, just like I was almost 6 years ago. So much time has passed, and yet my passion for editing still grows stronger each and every day.
I don't want my life to be a sad story. I don't want my life to be a sad song you listen to when your heart is broken, when you're in the dark, all alone, staring at the ceiling. I don't want my life to be a book filled with sentences that are hard to bring yourself to read, that leave you aching, wondering what it all means. Sometimes it feels like I'll always live an overcast 80% chance of rain life, or if it's not dull, it's dumping hail and snow and rain, or if it's not dull, electricity is running through my veins with thunder pounding so loud in my brain that I cannot hear the words I'm saying. I'm just screaming and flailing into a static nothing. And then I stop, and I open my eyes, and everything is still. Rain has settled as dew delicately on the leaves, and I can smell the cooling earth beneath my feet. The birds start to sing, blackbirds, thrushes, finches, sparrows. The flowers are blooming, and they smell like my mother's perfume. Tree branches are waving at me, rocking in their station position. I see them growing, moving, feeling. I reach my arms out into space, and I can feel a warm yellow light surrounding me, dripping from the constraints of reality and crystallizing on my fingers like old honey. The moon is calling to me, haze falling over her like cream in a cold cup of coffee. I'm warm and surrounded by vibrant morphing light, purple, oranges, and gentle rays of blue. I was in a womb bathed in ash and coal, and now I'm emerging. I'm cleansing my existence of this toxic melody that sings nobody loves me and I'm worth next to nothing, that I'm a nobody, because I am something. I am something that breathes passion. I am something that can make a white blank page come to life with ink stains and colored lines. I am a storm stitched together by skin. I am a sapling amidst a forest of old ancient things. I'm something still growing. I'm something made of the same material as stars in space. I am the warm golden light. I am my own savior, my own mother. I am something that has been worn thin by terror and loss, by trauma and alcohol, by hopelessness and abandonment, by rape and addiction, by hospitalization and rehabilitation, by starvation and self-mutilation, but has never given in. The foundation of my very existence has been rocked by these quakes, demolished, burned, plundered, and plowed, but I am still here. I still have a purpose. I can feel it thumping inside my chest every day. I still have these open eyes which have seen unimaginable things. I still have my own 2 feet that have taken me places I never thought I would go. I still have these 2 hands that have created things I never thought I was capable of. The wrath of life and the disastrous beauty of it all has made me realize I am me and nobody but me. And I'm capable of astonishing things. I'm capable of being loved and loving, and nothing will change that, not a pill promising me happiness, or the agonizing ice pick of grief, or the ghosts that linger under my skin, or the diagnoses, or a man with hammers for hands, or the scars that remind me of the demons clawing away at my brain every single damn day, because after the quakes and the storms and the suffering, I open my eyes, and everything is beautiful.
I've spent nearly my entire life lost in otherworldly fascination, inspired to learn by the things around me. As my life goes through its ups and downs, and things come and go, my inspiration stays. The stars will always bring their light, and the wind will always keep blowing. The sun will rise and set as days pass. I remember the first time I saw the moon with my Power Seeker 60 AZ. It was beautiful. Starstruck, I sat there and just stared into it. Such a big, powerful thing the moon is. It's kind of romantic. It's so far away and so amazing, but no matter how hard you try, you'll never get there. And it was there, staring at the moon, I felt how chasing your fascination could bring you godlike bliss. This was my scientific threshold. I stared it in the face, and it stared back, beckoning me to come after it, and I did. My fascination is much like the universe I seek to know, unknowably vast and seemingly infinite. So many things out there not seen by human eyes, just waiting to be revealed. When I look up at the stars at night, they grip me as hard as the gods and leave me breathless. From the stars to the atoms that make them, I want to know it all. The mutual inner workings of the world coming together one force at a time, forming everything we know. So many nights I've spent hunched over a textbook, confused with my face in my hands. Long time spent taking notes, hanging them on the wall, and moving on. I struggle to overcome theories only talked about by cigar-smoking professors. The path I walk is one some have to walk alone. I'm just a kid. I don't go to college for physics or chemistry, and some days I feel as if my own curiosity is mocking me, telling me I can't do it, but I can. Not knowing how, I prevail. Just keep pushing till it click. I'm so thankful for all the times I kept pushing over long reports and waited for experiments to turn out, when all I wanted was for everything to end. It keeps bringing me back to my senses, showing me the world I may one day leave behind too soon. I don't expect people to understand why as if I feel I have to know these things. I always thought that the world and all the people on it was just a happy accident and that nothing me or you do matters, but that doesn't make me sad. I feel like my purpose on this earth is just to witness it and know of the things that are out there. We as humans were given the gift of logic and reasoning, and I have made a promise to myself to never abandon that. This world wants us to know it, and I will.
A girl with big green eyes and even bigger aspirations. She stands about 5'3" and isn't scared of new things. This girl I just described is the daughter of an addict, but how would you know that? Did you know there are about 23.5 million addicts in the United States? But this isn't about that. This is about how just one of those people affected my whole life. Nothing was supposed to happen like this, but ultimately my mom let her own demons win both our battles. Over and over again, the darkest nights of my life kept coming until one day there was no light at all. Unaware of my mom's mental state, me and my brother were locked outside time and time again. Glass doors being shut and locked in my face was a normal thing for me in my childhood. Hours would go by without anyone there. I was alone. I was unable to see the light. It seemed like the same person who held me up also held me down. Nothing was how it was supposed to be. I held on for both me and my brother, trying to get out of the battle my mom sprung up on all of us. Blindsided, we found a way out. The light that I found wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was a person who saw the struggle and eased us out of that pain. But as I learn and grow, I realize happiness doesn't last long and is always replaced with other things. All I ever wanted was to see my mom smile like she used to, or to take care of my little brother because I know he needs me. But again, in one blink of an eye, it got worse and worse. Addiction had won. It took most of my life that I can't get back, and it also ruined my mom's. But I don't let my past define me. That is not who I am. Slowly, things started to look up, and it seemed that maybe, just maybe, the world wouldn't be pulled out from under me. I created my own life filled up without chaos. I moved away with a new family, changed schools, and found new support. My mom led me down a road I was supposed to walk down, but with new people and places, I turned around and created my own life. I am not the girl of an addict anymore. I am simply just me.
I was born in what can only be said as a perfect family. A father who had a wonderful, well-paying job, and a loving mother who disciplined me but also provided kindness. I thought it was a normal household, that most people had a loving mother and father. But the more I listened, the more I realized I was one of the lucky ones. My perfect household was abnormal to most people. Most people have some sort of turmoil, whether it be unruly children or unfit parents. They have some sort of problem, but I didn't have any of that. With them, I was weird. I was always the weird child. I liked things most people didn't like, and I wasn't afraid to talk, even if I did have a stutter. I was different, and they punished me for it. These people say the world is colorless, without beauty, love, or art. I say how wrong you are. I may not have any family problems at all. I never disobeyed my parents, but I still had my challenges. For 6 years, from the start of kindergarten to the end of 5th grade, every single day I was ridiculed. I was called every name imaginable by kids and teachers alike. I was poked, prodded, punched, and kicked by people I thought were my friends. My friends were very few and left me before long. The only real comfort was my cats. Mom and Dad were working most of the day, so I had 2 cats, Barley and Hops, to keep me company. I looked and saw just how amazing this world was through these cats. Barley had a silver coat with golden eyes and did not fear anything. Hops was a scaredy cat but had a gorgeous solid black coat that can even make the night jealous, with silver stripes and also had piercing golden eyes. They were my friends and my family that followed me everywhere. One day, however, Barley became really sick and passed on. At school, all of the bullies had jumped on the chance. They would tell me stuff like, "Your cat is burning in hell," or "It was a mercy to have anything under your care die." It hurt me more than anything before, being stabbed with a pencil or being kicked off of the slide where this flicks to the ear, compared to having my heart ripped apart by uncaring souls. If anyone now knew or even cared of how I even survived those 6 years, I would always say this: I forgave. All my wounds will heal in time. I knew I was never truly alone. However, it changed me. What can you expect? Being tormented every day, it changes people. I used to be outgoing, talkative even, but then I became introverted and only talk when it is acceptable to. And I became kind. I made a vow, not only to myself but to the world, that I would never be this low, this vile, this cruel. I made something good out of this bad experience. I learned to care, to listen, and to help all that ask. The most important thing it taught me was to never forget how someone treats you, and to be mindful on how you treat other people. A cruel act will be remembered much longer in people's minds. It might have looked like a hopeless moment, but I can see the beauty in the storm. I was alone most of the time, on break, and I looked in the grass, constantly, and I found a new little world. While other people may have seen grass, dirt, or even sand, I looked closer and saw what called these lands home. I saw little ants working their little hearts out for the colony, grasshoppers of brilliant wings of color and grace. A new world of color and life. I saw harmony.
When I was in 7th grade, I was forced to take a guitar class. In the beginning, I was the most passionate about it and so excited that I got to learn a musical instrument. But a class is a class, and by the end I hated it and never wanted to play again. Then my grandma got me a guitar for Christmas. It was large, seemingly too large for me. It was a beautiful crimson red sunburst with jet black on the borders, my favorite colors, the word urban printed across the top in silver lettering. That poor thing sat in the closet for years before I finally decided to pick it up and play. At the time, I was obsessed with Panic at the Disco and Brendan Urie's incredible voice. So I learned every song I could with the 3 chords I knew, which wasn't very many. I played here and there, every now and again, learned a few more chords, learned some new songs, but I got an electric drum kit for Christmas, and that basically stole my life for a while. I still practice guitar every once in a while, but it definitely wasn't my instrument of choice. But then my grandma passed away. Loss is a really unimaginable pain. You can never foresee how you're going to feel until you actually feel it. And that's when I got the urge to pull out that guitar and share my heart with anyone I could. I gathered up all the music I could find: Nirvana, Jimi Hendrix, Bring Me the Horizon, The Strokes, Queen, everything in between, looking for who I was as a musician, and in some ways, as a person. That's when I found my true pieces of full-blown inspiration. Humbug, Like Clockwork, and That's the Spirit. 3 albums that really changed how I saw and played music. Josh Homme rewriting the blues scale when he was 14, Matt Schultz not listening to music for a whole year to create an inspirationless album, Ollie Sykes' ability to really change and grow his musical style, Alex Turner's smooth, crooning voice and insane lyrical writing, and Matt Helders' drumming, like, Seriously, dude, wow. I found chords for as many of these things as I could, but on closer inspection, I had no clue how to play half of them. So I practiced, working on getting them down, and even performed some hand aerobics to master some seemingly impossible chords. All throughout summer and fall, I played every week at the Saturday market in town just to get out and experience playing in front of a lot of people, and it was really rewarding. It showed me that people enjoy the way I play and the way I sing, and maybe, just maybe, once my long-awaited EP is recorded, I can feel like I belong somewhere in the universe. Now, I'd say I'm a pretty average guitarist. I'm still practicing whenever I can and writing my own songs, even with the hardship that comes with that. You always want to be original. Sometimes you'll write something and love it, but maybe it sounds a little too much like something else you've heard, and then you have to start all over. There's also writer's block, where you just can't think of anything. At all. Whatsoever. But then there's this time where your mind's racing, the blood's flowing, and so are the words and the notes, and everything comes together like the beautiful concoction of sounds and vibrations that music is in the first place. These are the most beautiful times. Let me just say that music's my life, and it's all I want to do for my future career. I love to perform, I love interacting with audiences, and I love the feeling of a stage. I hope more than anything that I can be the one in a million, not for fame or money, but just to be heard and to share my passion with as many people as I possibly can.